I'm Mark Bell. I'm on my 10-minute walk, getting in some exercise. And today I wanted to talk about Kobe Bryant. I hear a lot of people talking, a lot of people sharing their experience with him and how they knew him and some of these different things. I'm not a psychologist, and how to deal with death is a really, really tricky thing. But something I always like to share with people is that, I've dealt with death too many times in my lifetime. And what I would suggest to people is, try to find a way to implement some of the things that person had, some of the strong attributes that person had, and try to make some of those things your own. So when you think of Kobe Bryant and you think of the mindset, and you think of the mentality that guy had. I've never met Kobe Bryant. I don't know Kobe Bryant. However, I did know his trainer. I knew a guy who trained him from the time he was a kid, and I know a bunch of other people that knew him really well. I never had the honor of actually meeting the guy in person, and I would have loved to meet him in person, because what a crazy mindset he had. That's what people will call people that are great. They'll often call him crazy, because they're like, that guy, he would get to the game an hour beforehand, and he would stay there, an hour later, shooting free throws, shooting three-pointers. He was really just a madman and a very fiery competitor, all the way to the point where a lot of people didn't like him. One of the things I admired about Kobe Bryant, and I'm going to get to something in a second about how Kobe Bryant and myself have some similarities. I'm certainly not on Kobe Bryant's level, and I'm not going to try to sell you on that at all, but we do have some pretty cool similarities. Kobe Bryant was so passionate, and he was so unreasonable with giving in or giving an inch on his values and his virtues when it came to how he thought the game of basketball was to be played. And I realized off the court he had some problems with some values and some things like that. But look, man, every man is fallible, right? Every person in the world has had an issue. Well, maybe not every person in the world, but most of us have had some issue here or there, and we've made a bad call in our lifetime that has hurt somebody. And maybe it's hurt somebody close to us, as is the case with Kobe Bryant. It's out there, right? People know a lot about it. Anyway, what I'm getting at is Kobe Bryant was uncompromising. It wasn't acceptable in his world to do anything less than to go after it with as much ferocity as you possibly could. It was completely unacceptable, and it didn't matter who you were. In fact, you could be 7 feet, 1 inch tall, and you could be 350 pounds, or however much Shaq weighed. Kobe Bryant, at a young age, is on the Lakers. He didn't even go to college. He goes right to the Lakers, and within like a few years of him being there, he gets into a fist fight with one of the greatest basketball players of all time, Shaquille O'Neal. And it's because he thought Shaquille was fat and lazy. But that was unacceptable for Kobe Bryant. He didn't give a shit that Shaq was good. He didn't give a shit that Shaq was great. He didn't give a shit that Shaq, was helping them win championships. He still thought Shaq could be a lot better if he simply worked a lot harder. Who else on the team was going to stand up to Shaquille O'Neal? I mean, you got to be out of here. That is a huge man, right? You have to be a lunatic. You have to be a little bit crazy. And the good ones are the crazy ones. The good ones have a screw loose. The good ones don't care how long it takes to work on doing. I mean, this guy, at a very young age, he's playing basketball. He goes a whole summer camp, and he doesn't score 1 point. And he's super disappointed. He's super upset. And his dad tells him, look, Kobe, I love you no matter what. You're my son. And that's one of the similarities that we have. My parents were like that as well. But as a competitor, you're like, Dad, screw that. Like, I want to score some damn points. Like, how about if I just made 1 basket? That would be pretty cool, right? But he didn't score at all. He started working and studying the game and studying the angles. How can I be better? How can I be better with my skills? He's not 7 feet tall. He's not the fastest guy. He's not the most explosive guy. He can't jump out of the gym like a Vince Carter. So he's got to think of, how can I be the best? Well, maybe if I studied the game, maybe if I understood how to pass the ball better, maybe if I understood how to dribble better. What are other kids doing that are my age? Let me pay attention to some of that. Kobe Bryant works on everything with his left hand because a lot of kids didn't know how to defend the left hand shot. They knew how to defend the right hand shot. So what did he do? He spent every waking moment that he could trying to develop a skill set of doing layups and shots with the left hand. And then of course, he's not going to have trouble scoring points ever again, and the rest is kind of history because he worked his way through that, right? Another common thread for me and Kobe, and this is something I just heard the other day, and the tears started flooding out, which is kind of weird because like I don't know Kobe Bryant. Again, you know, it's important that I state that I never had a real connection to him. I never felt it the way I felt it with Jordan, because I watched Michael Jordan when I was a kid. And when Kobe came along, I was like, screw this guy. This guy thinks he's Jordan. He's no Jordan. You know, all the old timers, they always think, you know, whatever happened, the music that was around when I was young, and there'll never be another Metallica, right? Like whatever is going on when you're in your 20s and 30s is the best shit ever, and everything else sucks, right? And so I was like, Kobe, I was like, he sucks compared to Jordan. He'll never be a champion like him, and this and that. But I didn't understand. I didn't know what an amazing mindset he had. I didn't know what a savage he was. This is what a savage this guy was. He I think he's coming out of high school, and you know, he's looking at these like reports, and he's seeing like, you know, where he ranks. I think he's still in high school, maybe not even coming out just yet. I think he's still young, maybe like a sophomore or something like that. And he sees, you know, his ranking in comparison to other great players. He sees it in a magazine. He sees some of the other great players in the country, and he sees that he's 53rd in the country, and this makes him irate because it's unacceptable, right? He's an uncompromising man. He sees that and he gets infuriated, he gets super pissed, and he's like, you know what? Tears the page out. He's like, this is my hit list. This is going to be my hit list. I'm going to be better than every single one of these guys and then some. Well, I myself had my own hit list. When I was powerlifting, when I first moved to California and really started to dive deep into powerlifting, you know, I had a little bit of a wrestling career. I messed around with professional wrestling for a little while. And when that didn't work out, because I powerlifted when I was young, I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go right back into powerlifting, and I'm going to be the most savage powerlifter that anybody's ever seen. I'm going to do everything that I need to do and then some to be the best that I can possibly be. I don't care if I need to weigh 300 pounds. I don't care if I need to, you know, stay at the gym all day. I don't care if I need to take steroids. I don't care what I got to do. If I got to do weird training methods and beat the hell out of my body, I wasn't scared to do or try anything. I was like, I'm going to do it all. But what happened is when I started getting back into powerlifting, there was a lot of new techniques and there was a lot of new things going on in the sport. And so I would go and work out with other people. Well, I would get my ass kicked working out with a lot of other people. I'd work out with a guy named Hoss Cartwright. He used to lift in my gym. He kicked my ass in every single training session. He was way stronger than me. This guy was already squatting 800 pounds. I was just getting into squatting, I think around 700 pounds at the time. Jesse Burdick, one of my best friends, he used to kick the shit out of me in every single squat workout that we would do. And it started to become, when I used to train with Jesse, it started to become like a battle. You know, I would do a set and then he would do a set. I would do a set, then he would do a set. And I would look across the gym and just have this, you know, crazy look on my face like, I'm gonna be at this squat rack all fucking day. You know, I hope you recognize that. I don't care if I die in the squat rack. I'm gonna be better than you at some point. And we would just stay there and we'd both look at each other. We'd do like 4 sets, then we'd do 5 sets, then we'd do 8 sets, then we'd do 12 sets. And we'd do like 20 sets because neither one of us were smart enough to give into it. We just kept working and kept working and kept working. But I knew that I was gonna figure out a way to be better than these people. And I myself had my own hit list. And it didn't matter if you were my best friend or my worst enemy. If you were better than me at that point, you were on my hit list. And eventually, I was able to get to every single person on that hit list, similar to the way that Kobe Bryant was. So when I heard that story about how he had a hit list, I was like, man, that is the coolest fucking thing, because, you know, all these years I thought I was crazy having that hit list and having my friends' names on there. It always felt kind of weird, so I never really talked about it much. But after hearing that video, it gave me some vindication. I was like, you know what? That was pretty cool to have a hit list. Now I feel much better about it. But man, you know, what a great, it's a horrible thing, you know, to have these tragedies. But what I think it does for our society is it allows society to hopefully take the higher road, and it challenges your virtues and your own values. Because what are you saying about Kobe Bryant when he died? Are you like, oh man, he's a rapist, or oh man, he's a cheater? You know, there was a lot of allegations against him, right? And a lot of things did come out publicly, and there was a lot of his information was out there. Does it do us really any good to be placing judgment on people that are dead, that died in a tragic plane accident? I don't think so. Does that tarnish some of his leadership skills and some things like that? Yeah, maybe. Certainly, yeah. It certainly could. It could for some of you out there. It doesn't really bother me any, because I think every man is fallible, and I just think that you know, if you're a person of God, you realize that all men, you know, lie, cheat, and steal some way, shape, or form somewhere in their lives, and maybe you haven't, or maybe you haven't yet, but I think there's some of that in all of us. Unfortunately, I think it's part of being a human being. It's part of what levels us out. It's part of what balances us out. But I don't really know what good it does to, you know, have that kind of commentary. I think to be open and honest about it and say, you know what, I think that was an unfortunate situation that happened to him. But man, who knows how these circumstances play out? Who knows how they happen? I never lived in his shoes. I've never had his fame or popularity, so I don't have any idea of the different pressures. I'm not trying to make excuses, because I don't think there are excuses for some of these things. But you know, I don't know what it's like to live that lifestyle, and I don't think a lot of anyone else has any clue what it would be like either. And so why even bother? Why even bother to talk about something that you just don't really know anything about? So the haters and the people that are saying garbage stuff about Kobe Bryant, I think it's a really unfortunate thing, but it gives you really good perspective on that person. I wouldn't even bother arguing with that person. Just let them talk, and let it and just listen to it. And just listen to it. Don't even let it bother you. You know, because I think that if you let it bother you, that might have been their intention all along. Because why are they telling you? You know, we might all think these things, but again, him being unfaithful to his wife, does it devalue the man's life? Does it wipe out the fact that he died in a tragic plane accident? It certainly doesn't change anything, right? It doesn't make it so it didn't happen, and it doesn't make it so it doesn't change the scenario in any way, shape, or form. So that's the way I kind of look at it. And again, you know, whenever somebody dies, you know, I'm no therapist or anything, but the way I've dealt with death in my life, having really, really good friends, really close people to me die, having my childhood hero, my oldest brother, Mad Dog Mike Bell, having him die, something I shared out with even The Rock, and I was crazy. I never thought I'd get a response back to it, but I did. You know, I shared the same thing that I've been sharing with all of you. I tell you all the time, you know, when somebody dies, make sure you're around really good people. Make sure you don't do anything stupid. These are all things these are like things to live by. And obviously, you know, with Kobe Bryant dying, you're probably not going to lead you to drinking, but if a close family member does, it could lead you to try drugs. It could lead you down all kinds of weird paths. So make sure you're around people that actually really do truly care about you. And in addition to that, take a couple of those traits that they had, the traits that you love, the traits that you appreciated. And for a lot of us, we didn't really know Kobe Bryant on a personal level, but go back and watch. You know, I feel grateful that we have all those YouTube videos. I don't know if you guys have watched some of these. Type in Kobe Bryant motivation. The stuff's unbelievable. There's hours of it all over the internet. Go watch some of those things and take some of that Black Mamba mentality and start to insert it into some of your life. Anyway, I just wanted to share that with a lot of you. In the comments below on this video, let me know some of your favorite Kobe Bryant moments. And that's all we got for today. Strength is never a weakness. Weakness is never a strength. Catch you all later.